Libra's been trying to tell me shit this whole time. He's like,
I told you.
He's been trying to tell me shit the entire time. I'm like, man, I can't grasp onto any of it. I don't know. I'm trying. Okay. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Okay, so I usually bring guests onto my show that remind me of me, or I can see some of myself in, or someone that I could really, really relate to. And because I like the way I think, I like the way I see the world, I like the way I view people, I like the way I communicate. So I like to have people around that remind me of me because I don't like the conflict and I love to just agree on like really important things. So my guest today, so funny. We have a lot of different parallels that we're like, oh my God, me too. We're both Libras. And we both love makeup. She's also a makeup artist. And I was like, I wanted to be a makeup artist as soon as I was alive. That was the first job I ever wanted to have. And so she is a makeup artist. So we both have that in common. And then she went into modeling. We both have that in common. And she loves to travel and be in environments that make her feel beautiful. And I just remember the first conversation that we had. Before she told me she was a Libra, she said like a couple of key phrases. Like, I think she said something like, I was living in New Jersey, but then I needed to be somewhere different, so I went to Cleveland, Ohio. And I was like, what? And she's like, I wanted something different. And I was like, you're a Libra. I already know it. Because it makes sense in our head, like for sure. We just have to figure out later. Anyway, I would love to invite you I would love to invite to our show my friend Laura.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming here. Laura, okay, I like people to tell me who they are.
Okay.
I know you because I know how we connected,
Mhm.
but like, you tell me who you are.
Okay.
So Laura is a...
I am a makeup artist. I am a model. I am a Libra.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I feel like I'm just a curious human being. I'm a very romantic woman. I feel like I just embody everything that it means to be a woman. That's just kind of like my goal. I am a mother. I am a best friend. I am a daughter. I am all of those things.
Yeah.
I am Puerto Rican. I am Afro-Latina, which is very tied to how I approach the world. And yeah.
Interesting. I wanted you to say all those things because it's very important to... I'm waiting for that to go. I think it's very important for you to express yourself in your humanity. I think it's very important for you to express yourself in your humanity, and I think it's important to name your humanity or humanize yourself, because what we're talking about today is kind of heavy. It's something that I have dealt with a lot in my professional life and my personal life, just being a woman. You know, there are things, I say this, I say, you know, we knew what it meant to be a girl, but then when we grew up, it's like it meant something different to be a woman.
Yeah.
Because you mean something different to a lot of different people. Totally. And I feel like we respect little girls and we, you know, maintain their innocence for the most part.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we become women, all the respect goes out of the window.
Yeah.
And we stop being little girls who are people that you have to protect and watch out for, and just kind of like, people watch out for little girls for the most part.
Yeah.
We're supposed to, for the most part. But when it comes to women, it's like she crosses a certain age and
she's on her own.
Yeah, she's on her own. It's like, game on. Game on. Who can get her first? Who can get her? Who doesn't matter? Say what you want to say. Lie, cheat, steal, whatever. Game on. Get her.
Get her.
You know what I mean?
It really does happen fairly quickly. And you're just kind of like, wait.
Wait a minute. I'm not ready for none of this.
Nobody's
I'm not
told me
ready for
about
this.
any
Hold
of this.
on.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. I'm still
Yeah.
in school. Like, I'm not ready for all this. And so we're talking about. I guess it would I guess it would be beautiful actually to talk about that switch. Where you went from being a girl to like, oh my gosh, it's open season on you.
Yeah.
Because that lends to like what we're talking about in this episode. Um, how could I explain it? Dealing with men in business and the different manipulations, the different assumptions that can happen when working specifically with men in business as a woman in any capacity, whether it be the modeling industry, which I experienced that in, and so did you, or in the corporate world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like if it's just the plumber.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the plumber.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you maneuver in business with men and how do you keep yourself safe? Because, it just becomes an open season and everything in your life becomes a opportunity to catch ya. Right?
It really does. Yeah. I think that for me, well, starting off,
When did you feel the change?
I definitely felt the change, unfortunately, as early as I was like 15. I think that once I got into high school, for the majority of my younger years prior to that, I was very much a tomboy. I played basketball. I grew up with brothers, so I wasn't necessarily hyper focused on appealing to the opposite sex or to any sex, rather.
Yeah.
I just was this girl focused on the things that she really loved. And then I think that once I hit 15, it was almost like, okay, this is interesting because not only did I not see myself in this way, but it wasn't, it was so, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but that's exactly what it was.
It was aggressive.
I grew up on the East Coast, so in New York and in Connecticut during that time, it was almost like I got the talk when you're walking down the street, look forward. If somebody is trying to get your attention, you just don't pay them any mind. And then you start with the you should smile more conversations and things like that. And you're just kind of like, I don't know where this is coming from, but I just know I'm going to look straight and put my mean face and just do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And so I became kind of like saturated in this space between me being a girl, but me having to become a woman very, very quickly. The bridge was not long at all.
Right.
And as I'm sure it is for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And then also just being a Latina, I feel like at that time, we have JLo, we have all of these different examples of what being a Latina is. And at that specific time for me, it was hyper sexualized, So if you weren't being spoken to or being catcalled in English, you were being catcalled in Spanish, and then it was just kind of like, wow, I'm a girl still, but at that time, no, you're like officially a woman
to them,
and if your body represents that,
Yeah.
how can you're not really gonna sit and have a conversation and be like, I'm 15,
Yeah.
So I was kind of tired of that, and I really wanted to leave that environment and ended up going to Cincinnati, which is where I spent the majority of the decade. But I feel like that was my introduction to what the world and my experience in the world was going to be. I definitely did not think that was going to be a part of my daily life.
Yeah.
But here we are.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I really want to know, like, for you, what you felt like that moment, like that switch kind of flipped for you, because I did not get the talk that this was going to be something that I was going to be experiencing for the majority of my life and on day-to-day interactions.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk either. I didn't get to talk either. It was, I remember, because I used to really be very skinny.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Same.
yeah, so I wasn't the girl that people like looked at.
Yeah.
So I was, like you said, very hyper focused. I was running track and I needed to be in the best in track. So,
Right.
like, that was a priority.
Yeah.
I was a cheerleader and I was teaching myself how to tumble at that time because
Look
I
at
wanted
that.
to be,
Yeah.
I was the only black girl. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I was going to be the only black girl, I had to learn how to tumble and be the only one that was tumbling better than everybody else.
Right.
So I was focused on tumbling. You feel me?
Yeah. Same. I was
Right?
a center. I was
Yes.
trying to be the best center I
Yeah,
could
it
be.
had to be the best that I could be. So I was focused on that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what college I wanted to go. Actually, I wanted to go to Stanford, but I didn't know how. But I was just really focused on that. So, like you said, I was really hyper focused on the things that I wanted to do in my life. Because I wasn't really referred to in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a bit of freedom until I turned 19.
Wow.
And it was like a night and day switch because also I always looked very, 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 very young.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost a young and just like a goofy, naive way.
Yeah.
So, I didn't, it happened a little later for me.
Yeah.
It happened at 19.
Yeah.
So I remember literally, I pulled up to a gas station. And as soon as I got out the door, as soon as I got out the car door, a man came running up to me.
Oh.
And it was an older man. He was just like 41, 42, maybe 38. And he was like, "Hey, beautiful, gonna get your number?" And I was like,
Can you not touch me?
yeah, come on, get your number. Let me get your number. So you got a phone? You got a phone?
Yeah.
And it was so fast. And I just remember going like, literally glitching in my mind like that.
Because you're like, what is
I
this?
had no idea what this was.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was so aggressive. And I was just like, I don't have a phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into the gas station. It's too much.
Baby, I know.
I was like,
your body was like, flee.
Yes. I was like, I got to get away from her. I cannot breathe. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know this guy. And he's asking for my personal information.
Yeah.
And no one's ever asked me for my personal information like that before. And I have parents. And I was like, I got to ask my dad, but you can't say it. Like, it was too much going on.
Yeah.
So I like ran into the gas station and paid for my gas and came out. And he was still standing by there. And I was like,
yeah.
What do I say? Like, how do I handle this? Because it doesn't cross your mind to like call your parents.
No.
Because it's happening so fast and you're just in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, gosh, what do I say? And then I got back to my car, and as I'm pumping, he's asking me for my number and asking me, do I got a man? And asking me all these questions and saying, like, I could do this for you. I could do that for you. Come on. Like, very, very aggressively. And I was just like, if I just ignore him, then he'll go away. And I just told him no. And then I got in my car and I walked away. And then it just happened every time I left the house after that. Every time I left the house. Go grocery shopping. I remember I'm picking out some parsley. And a grown man came next to me and was like, I can get your groceries for you. And what are you doing after this? Where are you going after you leave? Where are you going? Are you going home after this? Where you live? And it was like this crazy shit.
You're like, bro, I'm just trying to get some groceries.
I gotta get these parsleys. And you're like, this is insane. This is intense for me. Yeah. So
Okay,
like you said, there was no
bridge or gap to bridge.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I'm a girl and you're in my face.
Yeah. You're in your face.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when I moved to New York and I got it 10 times more, so I couldn't even imagine you like living in that situation. But when I got it, I realized this is what I noticed about them. And I think I was like 22, 20. I moved to New York the first time at 23.
Okay.
And this is what I noticed about them, specifically in New York, is they would stare at you on the bus, and then when you would look down, they would start smiling. And I caught that one time. And I was like, oh, you're doing this to scare me, bitch. Oh, I got you. Like, that made me so mad. I was like, oh, you think I'm a bitch? Like, you're trying to punk me on the bus. This is the game?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So then we were in staring contests. And then after that, I was like, whoever comes up to me in the way I don't want to, we can fight if we want to. Like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. Because I know that you're doing this to scare me.
Yeah.
And like punk me into giving you my number. And then punk you into being with me. And then punk me into, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting because New York taught me that. But you went to Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I went to Cincinnati.
Okay.
And then it was mostly because, okay, so when you're dealing with this type of stuff when you're
Uh-huh.
20,
Mhm.
it's even at 20, you're just kind of like, I really gotta be aggressive.
Yes.
There's no other way to go about it.
Mhm.
And that's what I felt like I had to do as a preteen girl.
Mm.
And because I had not experienced anything like that as I was growing up, because I was
Mhm.
very tomboyish,
Mhm.
my aggressive kind of like uh outlook on it, or
Mhm.
like what was motivating me at that
Mhm.
time, it was almost like, yo, now you're disrespecting me.
Disrespecting
You're
me.
just being
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because that's how it was like on the block. It was like, wait, so now you're just really trying to test me. And now
Yeah.
we're just, out
Yeah.
here just being two bulls trying to see who's gonna,
Yeah.
become the beta,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a lot on
Yeah.
my spirit.
As
And
a
I was
teen.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I have to leave this place, and
Okay.
hopefully it won't be the same experience.
So why Cincinnati?
Oh my God, this
Why?
story is actually great.
Okay.
So I was at a party. I was at a party in Connecticut, and I met this really beautiful, carefree Brazilian.
Mhm.
Um, she just really blew my mind because I saw how like just I would say that she was just so free and so full of life, and she wasn't as reserved as I felt like I had to be at that time.
Mhm.
Because I was doubling down on be aggressive, be mean,
Mhm.
it translated to so many other areas of my life. And so I'm at this party, and she's very talkative, and she's very
Mhm.
open, and she's very
Mhm.
this and that. And I was like, I gotta get to know her. And so we start talking, and she's telling me that she lives in Cincinnati, and
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? Whatever she's a part of, I want to be a
Mhm.
part of,
Mhm.
because I don't want to be closed off anymore. And
Mhm.
if she gets to live this way,
Mhm.
I want to go wherever she's going.
Yes, 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 yes.
So she was on vacation, and she was like, well, in like a week, we're going to go back to Cincinnati.
Okay.
Do you want to come? And I was
Wow.
like, okay. Yeah, sure.
Wow.
She's like, we can be roommates, and then you can like try it out for a few
Mhm.
months. And if you don't like it, I mean, you
Mhm.
just come back.
Okay.
And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
bet. So
Mhm.
I did.
Okay,
And
and how was that?
it was great. I was there for 10 years. Me and my friend who I met, she's actually my best friend. We're still best friends till this day. And we did 10 years in Cincinnati.
It was great.
It was great in the fact that I was looking for something different than the East
Okay.
Coast, which I definitely
I
got.
was gonna say.
I definitely got different.
Okay.
I would say it was great in the fact that I was able to excel in what I wanted my career to look like during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was great because it was right by the Bible Belt.
I was gonna
So
say how you doing with the white folks
yeah,
in Cincinnati.
that
Why you go from there to there?
yeah, well, in Cincinnati, I would definitely say that I got like a first-hand look at what it was to have my race, my color, my phenotype
They treat you like you was black?
yes. So that was like the first thing that I had to deal with every single day when
Was
I
that
woke
your
up in
first time dealing
Cincinnati.
with racism?
It was.
Hmm.
It was. On the East Coast, we're like a melting pot. You
Mhm.
have like, you can be partying with low Asian people
See.
and just everybody.
See.
And so it was something that I knew that I was Latina, but it was not necessarily something that I had to confront every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Cincinnati, it was the topic of conversation all the time.
Because I was like, you're being nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because when I asked you, you enjoyed it?
No,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
girl, you're
no.
being very nice about Cincinnati.
I enjoyed aspects of it because of
different.
my friend, but it was definitely very racist.
Mm-hmm.
There were experiences that I would say were very scary for me.
What's the worst thing that happened? Or the scariest thing? Or the thing that you was just like, wait a minute, they're really going after.
They're really, yeah. Okay, so I didn't know that. So you have Cincinnati, you have Columbus and Cleveland, and because I used to drive in between those cities, right in between each of those cities, you have farmland.
For sure.
And it's just like barns and open land, and majority conservatives live in these areas. But I remember driving one morning, and you just looked, and there was a barn with a huge Confederate flag
For
painted on
sure.
the side of it. So there was no way that you could ignore it. But because I had to drive in between these cities, just one day, 5 a.m., I had to stop for gas.
Damn, at 5 a.m.
I had to stop for gas.
Damn.
So I'm in this gas station in the middle of nowhere, and to my luck, there is this parking, like this pickup truck that comes, zooms, and parks like on the pump right next to me.
Always.
And it's like 5 men on the back of the bed of the pickup truck. One of them was driving, and it was like, I would probably say that that's probably the most terrifying for me, because it wasn't only just like catcalling, but it was also like everything everything that they said had black attached to it, and I was like, oh my God. And at that time I just had huge hair. They were like, oh my God, her with the afro, and it was just so aggressive, but in a different way, where I was like, yeah, I need to get out of here, because there's so much space in between where I'm at and where I have to work, like a good hour and a half.
Damn.
I can't be caught around these parts.
Yeah,
you know?
You can't pull over.
You can't. But then, they have the subtle daily racism that isn't as aggressive, but it looks like, where's that tall black girl from the other day? I was looking for this. I used to work at MAC Cosmetics at a MAC counter. And daily, my manager at that time, my coworkers at that time would be like, Laura, they did it again today. Like,
what?
Before you would come into your shift, people are asking for you, but they can't remember your name. So they're just like, yeah, the tall black girl with the afro. Like, where is she at? And they're like, we can't really share that information with you, but she's not working right now. Like, oh, okay, I wanted to buy a lipstick, but I wanted to buy it from her. And so your subtle everyday racism is kind of like, oh, I want to do her a favor by buying it from her, but also I can only describe her in this way because it's normal for me to do so. And they're like, don't you ever get like tired of that? And I'm like, well, I mean, I do, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is at this point. It's so embedded in the culture that I'm like, what am I doing? Are you guys able to do anything? Like, what would you say to the person? Because you have the opportunity to. And they're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, exactly.
So after your 10 years of being in Cincinnati, because you wanted to do something different, you wanted to leave New York and go to Cincinnati, what made you leave?
I actually came and visited Mexico City for the first time in like 2015. And back home, my career was going great, and I had a really good job, made really good money, but also I was just like in the next stage of my life. I was married at that time, I had a son, and the situation when it did come to the racism did get kind of like intense during that time. And so once I visited Mexico City and I saw how free I could be here, how race wasn't like the first thing that smacked me in the face every morning, I was like, wow, I'm actually able to enjoy my surroundings. I'm able to walk around the streets and decide what I wanted to do and really be in my body. And that was something that I didn't really have the luxury of doing back home. And so back home, like, I felt like my life was the epitome of success in terms of like paper. But when it came to the quality of life, that wasn't resonating with me at all. So once I came here and I actually had the experience of being here, I was like, wow, this is completely different. Everyone is so nice, so curious, and so inviting and warm. And yeah, I need to be there.
Yeah, the only time where you can feel free and safe.
Yeah.
I feel like when I landed here in Mexico City, this is the first time I felt free as a person and safe as a woman.
Yeah.
That might be ironic, but
it's real.
Yeah, because it's interesting traveling as a Black person in different countries, because it feels like there is a safety, because we don't have the same like tumultuous history. And here they have their own history that's very, very important to them, and everyone's very passionate about because it's a part of who they are. You know, so I feel like coming here, I wasn't in the muck of anybody's anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can just be here and people would be curious about me. And I feel like as long as like we respected each other, it was nice, but I never felt in danger. I never felt like anybody hated me. I never felt like anybody was targeting me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting as Black women to come down to a different country, but you are Afro-Latina.
Yeah.
Pero.
So for me, the transition was a little bit easier for me because I knew the language.
But also, the transition for me was okay too.
Yeah, and it's real. I feel like what you said about them having their own culture was very important because everybody would always tell me like, you know, from the U.S., like, tell me about U.S. culture and history and da da da. And I honestly would look at them and tell them, I could tell you everything that I know about it, but a lot of it may be inaccurate, you know, according to what you think that you may already know, just because it's been changed so many different times. And compared to Mexico, like, the U.S. does not have like a deep ingrained history. Like you come here and you go to the museums and they have like thousands of years of history, right? But like culturally accurate history. In the U.S., you know, we could say that we could
say anything. We could say anything.
And there are a lot of things that are like, you know, redacted and you know. So I definitely get what you meant by not being caught in like the muck of the country trying to figure its history out in real time.
Yeah.
Or rewrite it in real time.
Yeah. While
here they're just kind of like, here they're just like, welcome, and this is us, and we see you, and you're beautiful, and we want to know why you look this way and where you're from. You know, it's more curiosity than trying to measure you and be like, where are you from? So then I know how I'm going to treat you based on that, on like a social, economic level or whatever.
So we'll continue with your story, first of all. So you came to Mexico City. What was your job?
So I actually came, well, right when I came, the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So that was definitely like a huge buffer. I was still a makeup artist in the US and I had to travel back to the US when I first got here. Once the pandemic died down, actually. Because I was a wedding makeup artist. So everybody who had booked me for their weddings and had to postpone it for however long were kind of like, all right, now we're back. You know, still had to fulfill those contracts. And so I had to go back home. And every time I would go back home and work, I felt like, wow, this is not my home anymore. Yeah. And each time I had to leave for a job and then come back, I was so relieved when I would come back that I was like, oh my God, okay, I think this place is my home now. I can officially call it that. And yeah, once I finished working there, then I decided to pursue modeling here. And I was like, maybe I just need to take a break from the makeup, see what else I can do. And yeah, that's when I started modeling. Here, it's very much like, okay, once you get the sheet of like what people are looking for, I would just see Latina and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. But I quickly learned that I did not fall into the Latina or Latina Internacional type. That was more for like lighter presenting features in the Latina world. And I was actually categorized more in the African American casting section. Yeah.
You were too dark to be like
Yeah. And so now I feel like this was like maybe 6 years ago now, but it has changed now. Now they have more of an incentive to be more diverse just because there are more people coming here from different countries. Now companies are looking for a lot more diversity. So the whole Afro-Latina section actually exists now. But when I first started, it didn't. You were either Latina Internacional or you were like African American profile.
So what was great for me about moving to Mexico City, though, is I didn't feel like I was in a box anymore. So being a model and also just being a Black woman in LA or in the entertainment industry and in the United States, period, like the box was you're either going to be like super hyper ghetto, you're going to be a welfare baby mama, or you're going to be Alec Weck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like literally Alec Weck, fierce, hardworking, strong, ghetto. That was it.
Yeah.
And like I came from Palmdale. I grew up in Palmdale, which is Palmdale, California, which is a suburb an hour north of LA.
Okay.
So we had a lot of diversity. And it's California. You know what I mean? Like I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up in California. So like suburbia outside of California in the middle of the desert, you know? So we grew up around Mexicans. We grew up around white people. We grew up around Asians. And then we had Blacks. And we were all in this sort of just when you grow up in the desert like that, it's like everyone comes out of their perspective stereotypes and comes to the desert and just kind of creates a community.
Yeah.
So, and then also it's so we didn't have these sort of stereotypes. It was just like however you are. And it's California, like it's California, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we listened to Top 40, we were very into like entertainment. Like I grew up on Britney Spears, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like things like that. So getting into entertainment and getting into like modeling and media where they wanted me to be like, okay, you're not Southern, no. And I'm not Alec Weck, no. So they're like, what kind of Black are you? We don't even know. They're like, just the normal kind, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're like, well, we need you to show up in one of these two.
But
we need you to pick, and you don't resonate.
Even know how to do those. I don't even know how to do those things, you know what I mean? Like I have a side, but that's a side, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the things that I wanted to do in my career, like this, you know, there was no container for it. And the more I tried to get out of that box, it was like dragging you back in because you're not allowed to be out of this box. Right. You're not allowed to be just a normal, you know, Black girl. We have to name you in some way. So I feel like when I came down to Mexico City, I didn't have a name. I didn't have an identity. I didn't have a box. And so I can actually like express myself and like literally, this is the type of Black girl I am. Right. This is the type of person I am. You know, this is the type of woman I am. And that's okay. You know, because this is, who's gonna box me in here?
Yes.
I will say sometimes I think I'm from Haiti, but but that's it.
But in the industry here, I mean, oddly enough,
but I mean,
I feel like the industry is kind of like the industry. It's something that is that has already been kind of like structured around these things. So even though like walking down the street, I wasn't being put in a box. Once I became.
But what was your box?
I mean,
what was your box?
In the U.S., my box was like, okay, if you're Afro Latina, you have to show up as Zoe Saldana, or you have to show up as. Just as a Latina, I had to be like Jennifer Lopez or, you know, these really Rosie Perez, like really iconic Latin women. And if you didn't show up like them, then it was just kind of like, okay, we really don't understand what you are. But where I grew up, I was like, just like you're saying, I was like listening to Paramore and had like my little emo moment, even though my hair didn't do that, you know? I loved listening to like Nina Simone and I resonated heavily with Celia Cruz, even though she's Afro-Cuban, but we're like right there. And so I was being put in these boxes where I'm just like, I know that I'm Latina, but the way that I present is more Afro. So I thank my mom so much because she taught me how to be a woman. She taught me how to be a Latina, but because my mom is lighter presenting, she did not teach me how to be a Black woman.
Well, of course not, yeah.
So I had to figure that out on my own. And
so it's your dad that's Black? Okay. So did you grow up with your Black family?
I did not.
At all?
At all.
What's the situation there?
Yeah. So my mom and my dad, you know, they had me and my younger sister, and then they separated. And so I did not grow up with, or like around my dad's family. I grew up with my mom. It was my mom and 6 of us. And she never really wanted us to feel that division within the house. She did not say that we were half siblings. She said, y'all are brothers and sisters. Y'all are, you know, if something happens with one of you, we all show up. We all pull up. And so I did not even conceptualize that I was different presenting until I was about 15, 14, 15. When my friends would ask me, they were like, okay, so who's black in your family? Because I mean, we see you and we see your siblings, but like you guys don't look the same. And when I talked to my mom, she's like, oh, but you know, we're Puerto Rican, just tell them that. And it is true, we are. They're just from 2 different parts of Puerto Rico, each representing that side. And so I was like, okay. So that was another layer that I had to like add on, which I didn't know was relevant until I moved to the Bible Belt.
Yeah, so that's interesting because it's like, okay, so you were in one place, like you were in New York, right? And so you were definitely deep into your Latina culture. You know what's hard for me? The
rolling.
I've been saying, I can't do that. So it like falls out of my mouth.
La cultura, yeah.
Sí, la cultura.
Yeah.
La cultura. Damn it. I can't. I just can't do that. I'm trying. Okay. La cultura.
Look, you got it. Okay.
So you were deep into your Latin culture.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And you experienced that side. And then when you went to Cincinnati, you were a black woman. And so you did not know how to handle any of this shit.
No, it was not something that was presented to me every single day. I got a speeding ticket one time, and I did not, like, it did not cross my mind at all that the cop that pulled me over was going to treat me.
Wait, what happened? Tell me. So you pulled over, you got a speeding ticket. Tell me the story.
I got a speeding ticket, and the license and registration stuff, so usually we would have it on the visor, but I had it in the glove box. And so for me, it was just natural to like try to reach to the glove box. And when I tell you that I saw like him walk up like this with his hand on his gun, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And he was like, I don't need you to show me anything right now. I just need you 10 and 2. That's all I need. And I was like, okay. So once I get through this interaction that was like heavily stressful, because now I'm like, this person has their hand on a gun. I don't know what I did wrong. I mean, I was speeding, but I don't think that much. And he was like, you know, I'm just going to have you sit tight, but I'm going to come back, write you a ticket. Wrote me a $300 ticket. I'm like reading through it while he's there because I'm like, I don't really know what's happening. And once I see like the part that says race, it says black. And so I was like, oh my God.
You're black now.
This is the experience that I had only heard of, but now I was living it. And it wasn't something that I put myself in this category. This is literally how I present to the world. So that part, it was like reality hit me in the face to where it was like, no, yeah, you are a black woman. And even though you didn't hyper focus on that in your upbringing, now you need to find out what that means for you because this is how you present. So like it or not, we checked this box for you already. And so it was just kind of like, okay. That was when my journey began of figuring out who I really was and what I resonated with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're like, I now have these 2 different worlds. What was your step like? So where'd you go from there? Because you said that's when I had to really realize.
Yeah.
So then now what?
Now it was like trying to figure out, okay, from my upbringing, obviously I've learned all of this from my mom and I have all of these morals and traditional things that I'm used to. But then now in this new world, I have to maneuver in such a way to where I didn't necessarily think that I had to think about from the moment I left my house to the moment I came back to my house after work. All of those decisions mattered. How I moved, how I spoke, how I would present myself, how those experiences, I would say, suppressed a lot of my expression, a lot of my personality. I felt like I couldn't be as expressive, or the things that I did express, I had to almost be very like hyper focused on how I relate those things, because I was around certain demographic of people. It was like, oh my God. So now when I would express myself to my family, it was like, ha ha ha, and we're all loud and it's funny. Now these people are telling me that I'm like aggressive, or like a little bit too loud, or a little bit too forward, or things like that. And I was like, okay, so now I need to figure out what stage of Laura this was. And it was just a lot of suppression. Yeah, it was a lot of suppression, I would say.
Did it make you not want to explore your Black side? Did it make you not want to be Black when you figured out what was going on?
No, not at all. I wanted to, total opposite. I needed to know what parts of myself really resonated, why I was the way that I was, why I spoke the way that I spoke, why I felt like during my upbringing that I didn't necessarily subscribe to a lot of the things that came to how I needed to look, how I needed to act, how I needed to be. And then it also made things click from my upbringing as to why certain people would treat me differently than my siblings, why I never saw my mom be in similar situations as me when I did grow up, when I started driving, when I started to have some kind of agency over my own body and doing my own things. I was like, but I didn't really remember. My mom never really went through this. I never saw her go through this. And then it clicked, like, of course you did it, because she wasn't navigating the world as a Black woman or a Black presenting woman to any extent. So even if I wanted to express to my family like the things that I was going through, they weren't necessarily going to understand from my perspective. And so it just drew like this line to where I'm like, dang, so now what do I do? Like, who do I talk to? And so my dad's family did start reaching out to me. I do have like very little contact with them, but I do have contact with them. And I started going through their pictures, and I started talking to like my aunts, my cousins, and I'm like, okay, these people actually, like, I can see how they, I mean, to me, they were Black people growing up in America. They were sending me pictures of them during barbecues and during this and that, and I was like, this is a Black family. Any Black family growing up in America.
Yeah.
And I just never conceptualized that until a lot later in my life. And then once I did, I was like, okay. So now I know why I'm kind of different, but also like in Latin culture, I feel like just as proud as Black women are in their culture, we are just as proud because we experience a lot of the similar kind of like expectations, restrictions, stereotypes, all within Latin culture.
What do you mean? Like what?
If you're loud, or if you're non-agreeable, you're aggressive, you also get like the fetishizing of men wanting to be with darker skinned women just for the sake of it being like blacker the berry, sweeter the juice kind of stereotype. The same
That's
thing.
in Latin culture.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting.
Yes, ma'am. I want babies with curly hair and big eyes just like you. It's all of that kind of like fetishizing as well, or just wanting to have experiences with Black women just because they want to have the experience. But
so you're darker.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I'm considered darker in Latin culture, but I still don't experience the full extent of what that is because I'm not darker. Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird liminal space that I live in where I can't really identify with one side or another too much because I'm not Black enough to be Black, and then I'm not light enough to be Latin.
I just like we hear that a lot, and it's like, okay, so what do you do about that?
Nothing. I started asking myself deep down, who am I as a person? Like, I'm a woman, I'm an Afro Latina, that's how I identify, but who am I as a person? What do I like? And I had to ground myself deeply in what I felt like my boundaries were as a person, as a woman, and allow people to kind of fall within those boundaries and those guidelines.
All the systems that we identified with to put us in a box have kept us separate. And outside of keeping us separate from each other, it's kept us separate from ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a long time to come here and be in my identity because of the boxes. And I feel like it's important now, because I said, okay, so what do we do about this? You're too dark for the Latins, but you're too light for the Black people. So where do you go? And it might be a situation to where it's like, I identified with Republican, Bible Belt, you know, racism, MAGA shit. Or I identified with the way that I identified with, you know, traditional Christian values and, you know, traditional womanhood. Or I used to identify with, you know, and so, but now it's like, now that we know the truth about people's real identities, how do you create an identity for yourself now? You started modeling, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we talked earlier about how there was a switch when we were younger, when we were realizing that we were being catcalled, like, you know. And it's interesting because when I got into the modeling industry, like, it was a different type of switch. It was a different type of switch. And it was a different type of a man that I was presented with. You know what I mean? It was a different type of predatory.
Yeah.
That's not how you say
it. Predatorial.
Girl,
it's predatorial.
Yeah, it was a different type of switch.
It
was a different type of switch.
Yeah, more covert, maybe.
Yeah, it was like, because as models, I feel we are trained to take every opportunity.
Yeah.
Or see every like conversation as an opportunity. You know what I mean? Because everything could be some sort of work.
Yeah.
And so I saw really, really fast how then it turned into people were kind of just like hovering around us. Like, men were trying to find their way into the industry, whether it be a photographer, whether it be somebody who's like, oh, I'm an investor, you know what I mean? Or they pose as managers or agents or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Promoters, or even people in finance. It was just like, okay, there's models now.
Yeah.
How do I... And you know what's interesting? I found it interesting because it was, like you said, very, very covert and very manipulative, because as models, we are very, very beautiful women, but then we're also thought to be like dumb as fuck.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Like super, super
you
submissive.
don't have a brain.
Yeah, you don't have a brain. She's super hot, but she's super dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's willing to do anything to, you know.
But they're intimidated because they're like, she's super hot and I know she'll never like me.
Yeah.
So then it becomes this game of like, oh, hey, I'm a manager. Yeah. Because it's like, I've found that the men don't have the balls to ask you out as a beautiful woman because they don't have the self-esteem, but then they have like, okay, I have this money, or I'm a manager, or I work at this place.
They're looking for the proximity,
right,
to gain access.
Like, exactly, the proximity.
Like, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, no, the first time, have you ever been caught up? Like, what was tell me, have you ever been caught up? Because it's always like this covert, like, manipulation. When's the first time that you saw that? And what it looked like? Like, did you, have you ever got caught up by one of them?
Oh, of course.
What happened?
I feel like, unfortunately, in our industry, it's almost like a rite of passage. You need to be exposed to these weird kind of like scenarios, because then you can clock it immediately.
But like, what was the first weird scenario that you did not know?
Okay. So for me, it was, I was being invited to do a photo shoot. I was like just getting into modeling, building my book. So of course you're like, more is better.
Yeah.
You know, especially if I don't have to like pay for it, then
Yeah, so you're
more
just
is better.
going.
So I was invited to do a photo shoot. There was a couple of different girls that ended up going, and they wanted me to wear something that they had already picked out. I didn't inquire necessarily beforehand what that kind of stuff was. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm here, I'm pulling up, cool. So for me, I feel like the weird part was that they wanted me to wear something that was not only revealing, but also there was almost like there was a comment that somebody had made where there was already a girl inside the dressing room. So they were like, well, if you don't mind, you could just turn around and change into the top part of it while she's in there. So it was almost like an invitation to like, you can take everything off here, but just keep like your bottoms on and get the top part on.
What do you mean?
But this was in front of like a whole set full of people. So like photographer, lighting guy, I mean, I probably tell you like maybe 4 guys were in there, 4 men were there. But we were all just gonna take pictures and have pictures for them as photographers and pictures for us as the models. It was in kind of like we call it intercambio, like a exchange. So nobody was paying anybody to do anything.
So it was a test
but
shoot.
It was a test
okay,
shoot.
So say test shoot.
There you go. It was a test shoot. Showed up to this test shoot. There were like a group of guys that were putting the test shoot together. And because one of the other models that had gotten there before me was changing, then they were like, oh, but you could just change like the top part, but you can turn around, like we won't look. You could just turn around, turn your back towards us and change it to the top part. And then wait for her to get out to change into the bottom part.
Okay,
and
did you do that?
Absolutely not, because I was just like, well, no, I'm not comfortable. I'll just wait until she gets out. They're like, no, but it's kind of like common for models not to want to wait, and we could just get it going while she's changing. And I was like, no, I'll just wait until she gets out. So that was the kind of like the first red flag where I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't really think that that was okay, but anyway, let me just see what the rest of this outfit looks like. And yeah, no, it was like, I don't know, it was like it also didn't make sense, girl. It was like a bralette with like a onesie V type of like situation with like a thong back part of it. Anyway, I didn't end up doing the shoot. Once I saw what it was, I was like, oh, actually, I'm not really comfortable in this. And they were like, well, I mean, we really don't have anything else for you to wear.
They just be wanting to have shoots for hot girls.
Exactly. And it's always like when they're wearing the least amount of clothes. And so for me, I thought that like, okay, if I'm gonna be in the fashion industry and do test shoots, I'm gonna wear like designer stuff. Y'all are gonna pull stuff if I'm not personally bringing stuff. And yeah, no, that was not what this was. And then once I got whiff of that, I was like, okay, this is never happening to me again, because I'm going to inquire beforehand, like, what am I wearing? What's your inspiration? And then obviously with time, you're like, send me a mood board, send me a pitch deck, send me all of these different things. If we're going to have a stylist, who's the stylist? Where are they pulling from? What am I going for? And these are things that you kind of learned with experience. But even now, I mean, I know a bunch of photographers that's what they do. They just half naked, semi-naked, fully naked people, and then try to sell it to you as if you need this in your book. When we know that clients don't need a fully nude picture of you ever. Especially if you're doing like commercial stuff, like that doesn't go in the book, honey.
You don't need.
You don't need it.
It might take too long to go into this. But no, thank you. I have more to say, and we don't have enough time to say.
That's okay.
Okay. Like, because I could go there, we just don't have time to go there. So then we'll close it out. So tell me about your hair, because I think you said something very interesting to me about your hair that you just cut.
Oh, yeah. My hair, I mean, it was big. It was this full-blown, like, lion's mane, almost. And I felt like that was a big identifier. Not just in modeling, but like for my whole life.
Just for yourself.
Yeah, for myself. My hair was the thing. I was the girl with the hair. And
You didn't want to be there no
I
more.
didn't want to be there anymore,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because when I meet people, I didn't want them to just meet me because of the hair or be like curious because of the hair. I wanted literally, I didn't want anything else to hide behind, and I really wanted people to get to know me as a person.
I love that. It
Yeah.
seems like, to me, it seems where you're at and like your journey was to literally just take off all the identifiers, because
Totally.
I mean, I have identifiers for me, but then you're like, you have, on top of that, you have black, and then you have Latino as an identifier, and then you have your hair, and then you have black skin, you have dark skin, you have light skin, you have da 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 da, then you have the rosy braids, then you have Latino, and you have all these things that are just like, I can't do all this.
Yes. I can't do it.
Yeah,
It's
I can't
not
do all this.
sustainable.
I can't do all this. I
Yeah.
can't do all this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the best thing about you right now?
Ooh, the best thing about me right now, I would say in this point in my life, I'm really grounded in who I am.
Love that.
Oh, it's like undeniable. Yeah.
I love that.
And I feel it like all the way through.
And what was the main thing that made you get grounded in who you are? Like, what's the main practice?
It's definitely meditation. I got deep into meditation, and for me at that time, meditation was not something that I looked to have like an end goal with. It was just kind of like, I'm gonna sit down and not do anything for 15 minutes and see what my brain does. And at that point, I thought it meant turn your brain off, when it just meant really now it means invite all of those kind of like thoughts that come in, but become an observer of them. Don't lose yourself in them. And so for me, it was meditation and asking myself what I needed from life right now. What did I need?
That's good.
And at that point, now I've been meditating for like 7 years now, but at that point, I really needed security for myself. I was like, I need to feel safe. And those questions start to invite other questions like, why don't you feel safe? You know, who is the person that you're looking to gain safety from if it isn't yourself? And a lot of my answers was just kind of like reaching out, you know, to other people, or this person made me feel unsafe, or I'm in this situation because of this or that. And then when you bring that all back to yourself, you're like, actually, no, I can't expect anyone else to give me safety if I don't have it within myself. I need to ask myself why, or what would make me feel more safe, and why I convinced myself that I wasn't safe to begin with. And once I got to answering those questions to me about myself, then I'm like, okay, so I've been overthinking and delegating a lot of my core to other people that were like not meant to give it to me. You don't look for safety in a relationship if you're not secure within yourself first. You don't look for love outside of yourself first, because if you don't have it, you don't know what that looks like for somebody else to give to you. And even if you do get it, it never really quite hits, because you don't have it within yourself to begin with. So it's something foreign being given to you, which you will most likely like sabotage. I feel like maybe safety then led to my identity, who I was, who I wanted to be at my core without all of the labels, which was like, I just want to be a good person and I want to be of service. I don't know what that means yet.
Love that.
But of service.
Love that.
Yeah.
Out of everything, you just want to be a good person.
Good person, be of service.
And be of service.
And be safe.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
We've been here and there, we came back.
We made it back. It's okay.
That's how we are.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's like... Thank you for entering into the Velvet Room. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thought it was a vibe just like I did. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you
for sharing your story and sharing with us how you found yourself.
Yeah.
And your identity outside of what people were trying to make you become.
Yes. Thank you for holding space. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we will see you in the next episode.